Today on an all-new Dr. Phil, their daughter was a soldier.
You got blown off a 40-foot wall.
Yeah, she was a tough Marine. She's not tough anymore.
Now,
being injured in Iraq led to my drug use.
she's a heroin addict.
You took her to a drug deal. She's getting poison and you're driving her to pick it up.
She needs me, she hates me, she loves me, she doesn't want me.
Tell me what you think and feel. Don't tell me what she thinks and feels. Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
I try to be an emotional compass and point you in the right direction.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you. My guests today say their daughter fought in Iraq. You have all heard me say what huge respect I have for the men and women who serve our country's armed forces. But parents Bill and Marlena say their Marine daughter is now home from the war and fighting a losing battle with drugs. Now, Mom and Dad say that during her first tour of duty, Courtney was severely injured and after surgery became hooked on prescription pain pills, and that led to what they say was an addiction to heroin. Now, Bill and Marlena now say their once happy and proud daughter is an angry, volatile addict who is headed to an early grave if she can't conquer her demons and conquer them soon, because this is unwinding fast. Take a look.
I'm ready to jump off the merry-go-round of insanity. I am at my wit's end, and I don't know what to do anymore to help her. My daughter, Courtney, joined the Marine Corps after 9/11, proudly serving her country. When she got out of the Marine Corps is when things went amok. Her addiction started with opiates, because she had shoulder damage from being in the Marine Corps.
When she was in Iraq, Courtney started using pain medicines. Courtney had a problem after a while getting prescription pain medicine from her doctors, so she eventually turned to heroin. The problem is her mother and I can't get on the same page on what should be done. It's been going on for way too long. Courtney's been to detox at least 8 times, but she keeps slipping back into the same pattern.
Courtney was a very happy, energetic, and fun-filled child. She did a little modeling. I just keep thinking of 9 years of this craziness. This is really the end of the road for you. I know her body will always crave it because heroin is such a wicked drug.
What breaks me more than anything is she's got track lines all up her arms and on her legs.
The sad thing is, Courtney, she went from being an outgoing, funny, beautiful girl to someone who is so volatile. She's just a complete nightmare.
There's so many layers of why she's doing drugs, and I get that.
I want my daughter to stop doing drugs. This is our last chances to reach out and save our daughter.
I don't know how much longer she has on this earth.
Well, Bill has an opinion here, and he says Marlena is an enabler who is standing in the way of Courtney's recovery. Marlena says she cannot turn her back on Courtney the way Bill has.
I believe Courtney cannot get better because Marlena enables her.
I do not like the word enable. Bill has not been around, so he cannot judge me. Bill and I separated when Courtney was 6 months.
My relationship with Courtney is distant.
It is very difficult to communicate with Bill about our daughter, Courtney. I'm torn between helping Courtney and him saying I should be doing it in another way.
Marlena wants to blame everybody else for Courtney's problems. It always seems like it's somebody else's fault.
Okay, I'm starting with the two of you without Courtney here, and Courtney is not watching right now. She's not listening, because I want to talk about her. I want to talk about her candidly. You say that Marlena is enabling her, that she does everything for Courtney, that she takes her to get drugs, she gives her money, That she does things that keep Courtney from having to stand up and stand on her own 2 feet and do what she needs to do. Is that a fair summary?
That's a fair summary, yes.
Okay. Take your own inventory. Is he right?
As far as getting the drugs and everything, but it wasn't like I was handing out, here you go, here you go, here you go. I mean, I fought it a lot.
But you have given her money when you knew she was going to spend it on drugs.
I gave it to her because she would make up stories and say the drug dealer's coming. I know that.
Look,
I am totally guilty of it.
That is not an essay question.
I know.
That is not an essay question.
I
Look,
know.
Look at me.
I know that.
No. Look at me. You have given her money when you knew she was going to spend it on drugs.
Not on heroin, but drugs. Yes, drugs. Yes, for giving it to her. Yes, I enabled her.
Have you driven her to parts of town where you, in fact, were scared for your own safety?
But I didn't know it at the time.
I'm not sure I even want you out here when she comes out here if you are deluding yourself in this way. You know you have driven her to parts of town to see drug dealers. She gets out of your car, gets in another car, gets back in your car, and leaves. What do you think she was doing in there? Playing dominoes?
No, she got drugs, yes.
And you knew that. You took her to a drug deal.
Yes, it's sick, isn't it?
She's getting poison and you're driving her to pick it up.
I know, and that's why I stopped doing it. And shame on me.
Well, you did the best you could at the time.
That was...
Look, I'm not here to throw you under the bus.
No,
I'm not saying you wouldn't fit nicely, but I'm not here to throw you under the bus. You did what you did at the time, but we're here now. You got to have a different mindset at this point. You're going to bury your daughter if you don't stop doing what you're doing.
I'm sorry.
And you're quick to take her inventory. You're quick to take her inventory, and you have lots of advice for your daughter and lots of criticism for your ex-wife. But if you're so smart, why haven't you got this all figured out?
I didn't really know what to do. I mean, I have advice for Courtney, and we need to do this and this, but I can't make her do it.
Well, she tells us you think you're Dr. Phil and you're just full of advice, and she doesn't listen to a damn bit of it, but you take her inventory all the time.
And correct about that, yes. I am someone who, you know, again, I try to reach Courtney all different ways. I wrote to the show because I didn't know what else to do. I wanted just this, you know, the opportunity and Marlena and Courtney and to see if we can do something to help our daughter get better.
I'm just trying to help her. I mean, she was a Marine, a tough Marine, and she's not tough anymore. She's very weak. And when she's telling me drug dealers are going to beat her up and they're coming at her, it's like, oh, yeah, I did. I paid them off just to save her from being
one of the differences,
killed or whatever.
One of the differences,
easy to say when you're on your side.
Right.
Bill.
One of the differences that we both have, and Courtney knows, I've said this too, her mother wants to believe everything she says, even though she knows quite often it's not. I don't believe anything she says. I'm guilty because everything she does, I blame on drugs.
But
I say
whenever
it's drugs,
she says something truthful,
well,
you don't even hear it or listen to her. You don't. Bill, I talk to you.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm talking to you, just coming over here, and you've got your little thing in your ear, and you're just, you know, you're in another world. Your life is a vacation. His life is a vacation.
Can we not put aside all this agenda? You think he's a know-it-all. Most common phrase from him about you was enabler, 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 enabler. Know-it-all enabler, know-it-all enabler, know-it-all enabler. Okay, so fine. We're going to find out because Courtney's coming out here, and I don't want these two to waffle, not even a minute. We're going to meet Courtney right after the break.
I could have heroin brought to my house in one phone call. Getting heroin is easier than ordering a pizza. I can't even function until after I get high.
And later...
You can't keep doing this anymore. We're really at the end of our rope and everything, and you're at the end of your life. I really believe this is the end, Dr. Phil.
Tomorrow on an all-new Dr. Phil.
You were the facialist to the stars.
accused of hiring a hitman to murder her rival.
You think you've got somebody trying to poach your clients. Did you solicit someone to kill this man?
It was one of those, oh, I could kill this person. I should find someone to take him out.
The exclusive interview.
You typed out a text message. I have found someone that can do this deed for me.
All new Dr. Phil. That's tomorrow.
I think that Courtney played me many times, making up stories so that I would give her money. Courtney said a drug dealer was going to beat her up and was threatening her. I paid him off. But what if it's all a lie? Even though she was crying, you give her some money to pay off a drug deal and then she goes out and buys it again. How foolish.
Marlena says her beautiful former Marine daughter, Courtney, has lied to her and dragged her into dangerous neighborhoods.
I have a problem staying clean. Part of the reason that I use drugs is because I have issues dealing with the PTSD. My drug addiction started with the pain pills. They were for a legitimate reason. During my tour in Iraq, a mortar explosion knocked me off this 40-foot wall, and I dislocated both my shoulders. When I got out of the Marines is when I started abusing the pain pills. When I couldn't get a prescription, I started using heroin. Getting heroin is easier than ordering a pizza. I could have heroin brought to my house in one phone call. Initially, I snorted it. I started injecting it. In the beginning, it feels really good. It's like having sex and winning the lottery, like at the same time. I've been to detox a lot and slip back into my old lifestyle. I am tired of having to call my drug dealer, and I can't even function until after I get high.
Well, Courtney, I'm glad to meet you.
Glad to meet you, too.
You a drug addict?
Yeah, I'm always gonna have to live with that. Like, I'm not on drugs now. I'm like newly clean.
And what were you taking?
Mostly heroin.
Until 3-4 days ago.
Like 5 days ago. Today's.
Okay, 5 days ago.
Yeah, not that long ago.
How do you go from everything that you've been described as at different phases in your life to being this wonderful, dynamic, vivacious kid, to being this empowered woman in the Marines, to sitting before me now addicted to heroin? What, I mean, everybody is looking at this saying, how did this go wrong?
My life has just been it has been a mess for the last several years. And I don't even think I know, like, what the one thing is that screwed me up. I mean, there was, the moment where, heroin was offered to me, but I was already screwed up before that. Does that make sense?
Was there a time in your life that you would have thought, I am not one of those people that would ever put a needle in my arm and shoot heroin in my veins?
Yeah, I think that every day. I told my counselor, I don't even know. I mean, I know how I became this way, but it's still surreal. I cannot believe, like, I'm the same person. And, my friends that were in the Marines with me, they don't understand it. They're like, what is wrong with you? Like, who is this person? And I don't even know. I don't know.
Take me through the first moment, the first time you put that needle in your arm. What did you think at that moment?
Problems solved. No more pain, no more panic attacks, no more feeling any kind of emotion. It's like putting big Band-Aid on everything.
So you didn't think that was a low spot? You thought that was a solution?
In my mind, it's like, yeah, I knew it was a low spot. But when I initially started it, like, I started snorting it. So I was like, oh, well, you know, at least I'm not one of those people that inject it, you know, because that's really screwed up. As messed up as that thinking is, like, but just the way it made me feel, it made me think, like, well, at least I don't feel bad right now. And it just, then I became one of those people that injected it. And even though I said, oh, I'm never going to be like that, and I just kept, like, reaching new bottoms, bottom after bottom. I don't even know if I have a bottom, truthfully.
What is the absolute lowest point that you can think of? Be honest.
Probably when I overdosed and almost died, and I was in a coma for like 3 days, and my organs were failing. But even after I woke up, I still went out and I wanted to get high again.
Courtney says one night in particular changed her life forever, and she fears she will never be able to move past it. We're going to talk about that when we come back. When that happened, did it change you?
Yes, profoundly changed me. All the stuff I already thought about myself, like, people were starting to say out loud.
And later, what are we doing that this consistently happens? It's been at least 4 times.
Well, the implication is that she's putting herself in dangerous situations, and you get what you ask for. Courtney says joining the Marines and serving her country was the best, most meaningful time of her life. But during a weekend trip with her fellow Marines, one soldier did the unthinkable and changed her life forever.
Serving in the Marines was the best and the worst time of my life. I was raped my first year in by another Marine. We had a 3-day weekend over Valentine's Day weekend. It was all guys except me and a girlfriend of mine. I wasn't drinking, but my girlfriend had been talking to this guy. He went and got her a drink. She hadn't even finished half the drink, and she couldn't even stand up. At this point, the guy who ended up raping me said, I'll help you go back to the hotel. We got her back to the hotel. He ended up coming on to me. I told him no, and he didn't listen. He was placed under arrest. He got a dishonorable discharge and was sentenced to 6 months in the brig. One time when I was in the chow hall, somebody walked up to me and dumped food all over me and called me a whore. I was really distraught. I was really depressed and withdrawn. I wouldn't even go outside because people were always talking about me. I couldn't take it. Being injured in Iraq and the rape definitely led to my drug use. It definitely did not help, that's for sure.
When that happened, did it change you?
Yes. It profoundly changed me.
In what way?
In the way of not ever being able to trust somebody again. Thinking of myself differently. Just like I'm a piece of crap, and a lot of people were saying that. All the stuff I already thought about myself, like, people were starting to say out loud.
Like, what did you think about yourself?
I was angry. it's just so many emotions, like, mixed into one. I really felt betrayed by the Marine Corps. I feel like I should have at least been offered some sort of counseling, some way to vent it out, let it out.
And y'all were aware this took place, right?
Yes. I just couldn't believe that the counseling wasn't there, and Courtney kept indicating it too. It's just, how are you getting through all this?
And it was after that you were deployed. You went to Iraq.
Shortly after that, yeah.
And how long had you been there when you got blown up? You got blown off a 40-foot wall.
Yeah. Probably 6 months, five or 6 months.
Mm-hmm. And you were on top of a wall?
Yes.
Baghdad?
Yes. It was my job to run telephone wire, to hook up communications for other Marines out in the field. And we just started getting incoming, like, mortars being shot at us. And the next thing I know, I was getting canteen water splashed in my face, and I thought I actually got hit with shrapnel because my whole body hurt so bad, but it was actually a couple of broken ribs I had. But they ended up medevacing me to Baghdad for that.
And you had to have surgery?
Eventually, yes. I did not have surgery there, and I wasn't taken back to the United States. I stayed in Baghdad for about a month, I think, and then they sent me back. So.
But you ultimately did have surgery?
Yes, I did. 3.
And you had multiple, and then you had pain medication for that?
Yes.
That started the merry-go-round?
Yes.
Pain, seizures, PTSD from rape and war. Coming up, according to Courtney, being raped in the military isn't the only time she's been sexually abused. Bill says his daughter always seems to be at the wrong place at the wrong time, and maybe that's why this keeps happening to her. Not sure what that means, but we'll find out when we come back.
Bill questions the other rapes.
I'm confused at how Courtney has managed to get herself in the same type of situation. The fact that someone had been attacked something like 4 times makes me question, how is that even possible? Either she's the unluckiest person in the world, or something is drastically wrong.
Well, Courtney says she confided in her parents about being molested as a child and then raped at least twice as an adult. Now, Marlena says Bill only believes the rape that happened in the Marines because he says it's documented and the others are not. Bill, what's the issue?
Well, what happened, I found out about what happened in the Marine Corps, and then later I found out about something that happened in high school, which I wasn't aware of, and I don't know that her mother was aware of it either until Courtney confided in her. The only thing I was aware of was another time when she was at a hot tub and someone attacked her. Now, no one really went into the details, because I'm going to be honest, as a father, it's not something you sit down and discuss with your daughter, you know, something like this. I don't want to, maybe I'm burying my head in the sand or something, but it's very, very upsetting to me. And I knew that happened late at night. And then shortly after she got out of the Marines, she came and was living with me where I live. And there was an incident 2 o'clock in the morning at a bus stop where she was attacked by somebody. And so my question, or what my concern, and I think I asked Marlena, is what are we doing that this consistently happens? It's been at least 4 times. And the part of that doesn't matter. I always say, whether if you're someone, you're at a fraternity party and you had too many beers, that doesn't justify someone attacking you.
Well, the implication that I'm hearing you make even now is that she's putting herself in dangerous situations and you get what you ask for.
not so much you get what you ask for, but the fact is dangerous situation and what's happening in a situation where they involved in drugs and alcohol that put her into the situation, or was she an innocent victim that just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time?
The other two rapes, Courtney never told them to me. And the only way that I knew them was out of her military records when they were all released. And then as I was going through some of her journals and read a little bit, she had indicated it. And then later, Courtney, I asked her about it, and she did share with me what happened. And the one with the child sexual assault told her that she was going to go to hell if she told anybody. So for years, she kept this inside of her. And then when she was raped in the Marine Corps, it was like everything, the shame, the guilt, the ugly, the damaged goods Courtney always says about herself and how much she hates herself. And it just, the three sexual abuses that she's had it really destroyed this psyche of this person inside of Courtney. And then being out of the Marine Corps and then escaping all of it, you know, then drugs felt pretty good.
So how do you feel about all of this? I mean,
it's really uncomfortable putting such personal things out there. Kind of always, you know, knowing my dad feels that way. I can't have a normal conversation with him. When I am talking to him, he just gets this like spacey look on his face, and I know he's not listening to me. He's thinking about what he's gonna say next, and it drives me crazy. It's like how I was interviewed earlier for the show. With him, it's like I'm always being interviewed about to go on the Dr. Phil show.
I really believe this is the end, Dr. Phil. This way is death. You've got to wake up and say, I want to live.
Tomorrow on an all-new Dr. Phil.
Accused of hiring a hitman to murder her business rival.
An exclusive with the Hollywood facialist.
you typed, I have found someone that can do this deed for me.
That's tomorrow.
My relationship with Courtney is not the same. I think she doesn't like me.
Sometimes I kind of feel like my mother is delusional because she will say really hateful things and she'll say she didn't say it.
The text messages that Courtney sent me are extremely hurtful. I've never had anybody talk to me that way. She called me a moron. I do believe it's the drugs that are talking when I'm being cursed out by Courtney.
Why do the two of you have such a combative relationship?
I wouldn't describe our relationship as combative. I mean, honestly, if I wasn't on drugs, I don't think I would say any of the horrible things that I've said to her.
Well, boy, I pulled up some of your text exchanges. They're pretty combative.
And recent, last week.
You had this exchange October 1st. Marlena, are you going to blank because I will literally shut you out of my life? Think before you text me your answer. What are you talking about here?
Detoxing.
Courtney, so what happens next is because of you people thinking you could just keep treating me like... Then here's one on the 7th.
I mean, there's a dynamic going on.
Okay, here's one on the 7th. Listen up, you blanking moron. Dr. Blank said I had to go, and are you aware that I'm being discharged first thing in the morning? I might need surgery, but you wouldn't give a blank, would you? You're an ugly person, you know that? That's charming. Courtney, you started screaming, oh, I knew you would pull this blank. You got to be blanking kidding me. No, no, I'm not taking you. Oh, you blanking jerk. But you didn't even ask what was wrong with me. I cried my eyes out.
You want me to explain that?
No, there's more.
I didn't say it.
Courtney, you're either crazy or delusional, and you are a liar. I am not lying. I think our relationship is over for now. I will not deal with this anymore. You have absolutely no shame the way you talk to me. All the names and all the years with you is beyond hurtful. Funny that you're saying that. I'm lying to make myself better because that's what you're doing. Don't text me again. You're bad for my recovery. That's why I say combative.
It's dysfunctional, and she loves and hates me. There's a love-hate relationship. She needs me, she hates me, she loves me, she doesn't want me, she wants me to stop.
Why?
Because
I'm just curious if either of you have a view as to why.
Courtney right now, Dr. Phil, is...
No, don't talk about her. Talk about you. She can talk about her. You don't need to tell me about her. You keep telling me about how she feels, what she was, when she was at her low point, how she reasoned to do heroin, what her thinking was, what she was thinking, how she reasoned it out. You're speaking for her, and unless you're a ventriloquist, I don't need you speaking for her. If you want to tell me what you think and feel, tell me what you think and feel. Don't tell me what she thinks and feels.
I don't even know what the... So you're asking me why she's talking to me this way?
No, I'm asking you why you have a combative relationship with your daughter.
I really don't.
You're giving her ultimatums. You're saying our relationship is over. This is done. You're out.
She just asked me for money, Dr. Phil. That's what was before that. $20 she was asking me. And that's why I'm saying I'm done with this. And then she started before that saying, I don't know. No, I'm not going to do it. Screw everybody. And that's why I said what I said. And then she started saying she was going to go to detox. And I'm done with it. She has to get clean of this stuff. We got to start somewhere, Courtney, because you can't keep doing this anymore. We're really at the end of our rope and everything, and you're at the end of your life. I really believe this is the end, Dr. Phil. She can go this way or this way. This way is death because her body is beaten to the ground physically and emotionally, Courtney. You've got to wake up and tear off the clay on your eyes and say, I want to live. Just live a life that is just happy and peaceful. You deserve that.
Marlena says at this point she doesn't know what to do. But what she just said to her daughter were the first authentic words from her heart to her daughter that I've heard since she got here. How refreshing. Can Courtney finally push herself towards a life that gives her a chance to be who she can be? I don't know. We're going to find out. We'll be right back.
Do you need Dr. Phil's help? Text Phil to 88500 and share your story for a chance to appear on the show. Standard message and data rates may apply.
If you are going to be in the Los Angeles area and you would like free tickets, go to drphil.com and click on Be in the Audience.
Or you can call 323-461-PHIL. That's 323-461-7445.
My dad thinks he's Dr. Phil, and he is always trying to fix me.
I know I drive my daughter Courtney crazy because I'm always giving her advice on what she should do and how she can fix her problems.
It's extremely irritating to me when he does this.
I use a lot of analogies with Courtney. I told Courtney, you're like a hamster on a wheel. No matter how hard you run, you're not getting anywhere. You're staying in the same place.
It's just unsolicited advice, and it very much pisses me off.
Well, Bill says he turns his phone off at night because he's scared he's going to get the call that says his daughter is dead. Marlena says Courtney is drowning and she cannot watch anymore.
I can't. I try to grab for her, but she doesn't want to grab my hand. That's what I feel.
Why do you think I went to detox and all that?
Yes, Courtney, this is your 7th detox.
I know.
How many times do you detox and say, you know, I don't want to do this anymore?
We go through this, and then the rest of the components don't change. The people, places, and things. You know, I've told Courtney, yeah, I use these little things that I say to her, and she is right about a lot of things about me, because it's hard to have a normal conversation with her on the phone. If she does answer my phone calls or texts, it's usually, quite honestly, I think a lot of times she's high, because she's very talkative and on the phone and friendly, but then she brings up something and it kind of puts me on that end of, hey, Courtney, why don't you try this? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do something different?
Okay, well, that was then, this is now, and I want to talk to you.
That's messed up. If I'm in a good mood, can't I just be in a good mood? Like, it doesn't have to mean I'm high.
You can't do heroin and then get self-righteous about people being suspicious if you're high.
True.
We did a drug screen on you when you came in today, and you say you're taking a medication. You actually don't have that in your system. So you certainly don't have it at therapeutic levels, so you're not taking enough of it if you're taking it. But you did take, you did test positive for opiates, and I assume this is probably, you're taking something to help you to keep from withdrawal, right?
Yeah, when I was in detox.
Well, you don't get this out of your system as quickly as you think you do.
Okay.
If you leave here today and just go back to your life, where do you think you'll be in a year?
I think in a year, I don't think there'll be too much change if I'm being completely real with myself. I don't really see, like, after I've been doing heroin for so long, I don't really see some momentous change occurring by next year.
Want to get something off your chest? Sign up for the drphil.com community and weigh in on your favorite episodes and share your personal stories with other community members. Plus, get started on your own blog to share your thoughts on the topics that interest you most. I'll be reading those message boards. Log on to drphil.com today. And one of the biggest mistakes people make when they try to get clean from drugs is they try to do that in a singular fashion. They go in and get clean from drugs, and then they come out and they do what we call white knuckling. You know, they're just kind of hanging on. It's like, okay. But everything else that's going on with them, all the psychological issues, all the mental emotional issues, all those things that they were using this to self-medicate for are still bubbling around, still going on in time. If you're ever going to have a chance to, no kidding, reclaim your life, you're going to have to stop going back and forth with these people and finding a reason that he's not fathering right and she's not mothering right and all of these things that you wish they would do differently. And you're going to have to stop allowing these things that have gone on in your life to continue to go on in your life, and you're going to have to face those things head on, and you're going to have to face them simultaneously with getting yourself clean. What you have to do is get into a dual diagnosis treatment program that deals with everything at the same time, that allows you to, no kidding, get your body clean, your brain clean, your life worked out, so you don't need something to self-medicate. So you resolve the issues and you get the coping skills other than biochemical. And anything short of that, your chance of turning this around, your chance of not going to an early grave are getting really, really short odds. And you have to make a decision You're not going to do that. You have to make a decision. I got one shot here, and I am going to grab on with both hands, and I am prepared to make that available to you. I am prepared as a gift to you to make that resource available. You see this guy right here? This is Brad Lamb right here. He's a certified intervention professional. He's the founder of Breathe Life Healing Centers. Now, they are experts in dual diagnosis clinical care. And he's got Kathleen Murphy sitting right next to him, and she is a nurse. And I asked them to come here today because I want you to go with them. I want you to go to their treatment center from here. I don't want you to pass go. I don't want you to go home. I don't want you to do anything. I want you to go from here with Brad and with Kathleen and put yourself in this treatment center, because this is a time to say, I drew a line in the sand and decided I'm taking my life back, whatever it takes. And when you get through there, you're probably going to go to a sober living. You're probably going to start a new life and a new career and a new direction. Your life a year from now is probably not going to look anything like it looks right now. Brad, can you help her?
You bet. I built Breathe for a person just like you who's struggling with trauma and gets addicted and cannot get out of it, and also for a family like you that's stuck in the drama of it.
I'm offering you this gift. Will you take it?
Yes.
All right. And I want you to come back here and pay this forward. I want you to come back here. You're a leader. You can use your life. And I want you to do it. I want you to do it here. But it starts with you. You do this with you first. Fair enough?
Yes.
Fair enough?
Yes.
All
Thank you so much.
I want to thank all of my guests today, and a special thanks to Brad Lamb and the Breathe of Life Healing Centers and taking care of this brave soldier. We do thank you for your service, even though not everybody seems to be acknowledging that. I damn sure do. We'll see you next time. So much. I really appreciate this.